So I'm in this facility, and I'm in there for 2 days because insurance decided, oh, we're not going to cover it anymore. But while I'm in there, I meet someone really bad. So I meet this guy who's in there, and once I'm out, we all go to AA meetings together. So we're going. I'm still using,
Mm-hmm.
totally still using. I got out and I'm using. I was in there, what, 48 hours. Definitely needed to be in there. Um, so we're out and I'm friends with this guy. It becomes romantic and totally not a good situation. And at some point, we lose touch. Go back to my job, go back to my life. Everything's okay. I'm still using a lot. And things were getting really dark for me and just using worse and worse. I'm
Yeah.
living on my own now. I don't really do well on my own for long periods of time.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Like ghosts. So it was just, and then two, being in my addiction, it's the first time I've moved out and being on my own. It was just very, just felt dark and not, didn't feel like the right time to leave the nest, I guess.
Okay.
So I leave, or excuse me, I'm living there. I'm back from rehab and I get back in touch with the guy. So I know he's out there running the streets and doing bad things. I don't know whose brain was in my body at that time, but
Mm-hmm.
the decisions being made were crazy. You would never expect, if you knew me, that I was someone making these decisions. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, it's wild. So he comes over, we're hanging out, and I know I'm conscious and aware that he is a crackhead. He uses crack.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at a point in my addiction where I'm like, I'll take any high I can get. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's see where the wind blows us, you know?
Yeah.
And so he comes over, and I'm like, I know he's going to offer it to me. And when he does, I'm going to say, yeah. This would then begin a 2 week crack binge,
Wow.
full on crack binge.
So no sleep?
None. Oh, no. No, no. I dropped a ton of weight, no sleep. Um,
And is does any of your family checking in on you at this
so
time?
get this. I go to work, I come home. I had been up all night because I had just tried it. My mom calls me and says, let's go to lunch. And I was like, oh, I'm not really feeling so good. I'm going to go back home. Well, I know he's there and we're going to do more. Oh, I'm not feeling so great. I guess I never hung up the phone. So we're sitting there. You can hear the lighter. There's some conversation. She knows exactly what she's hearing, the whole thing.
Wow.
And we're just sitting there smoking crack.
As a parent, you're just on the other end. Can you imagine?
No, no.
Oh, geez.
I mean, no. And so at some point, it's like, oh, what time is it? And he picks up my phone and he goes, your mom's on the phone. And I pick up, she was just hysterical. What are you doing? No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. I heard everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Now that's a God moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was like I had tried the crack 24 hours earlier. So now she knows. And we're on this 2 week crack binge. What is to be a 2 week crack binge? So this is I never knew anything of the streets. I grew up in the suburbs. I had like a blue
Mm-hmm.
collar family. I was kind of, I mean, I knew it was there, but I was never in that world. So cut to, you're in Las Vegas as a crackhead, okay? Like overnight. So now I'm not showing up to work. I'm calling and I'm not showing up to work. So that's happening. Meanwhile, all night long, we're going to Fremont Street. We're not talking Fremont Street experience here. We're talking Fremont Street where if the dark web was a place,
Mm-hmm.
it is unreal. Unreal how you see things operating from that drug addict perspective,
Okay.
like street drug addict perspective, right?
Yeah.
I've been in and out of doctors' offices getting my drugs, not on the street. So we're talking, we're out 3 or 4 in the morning and there are prostitutes. It's very obvious. I mean,
Yeah.
just, there's nothing's being hidden. There are people selling crack and it was wild, even in the daytime. So I'm seeing all of this and my mom is desperately behind the scenes trying to figure out what to do. So somewhere in there, and we're just running the streets, me and this guy, we're just smoking crack, we're out and about making really dumb decisions. At some point, she has contacted my dad, and my dad is now set in motion. He's trying to figure out how to get me into rehab
Yeah.
in California. Got to get me out of the state. And so they're working on that. And
Is your dad living in California at that time?
yeah, so my dad's still in California. And imagine too, from my dad's perspective, he didn't know that I had this drug
Even the pills,
addiction.
and now
Yeah.
you're getting a call that your daughter's on crack.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it was really intense.
Do you feel like now looking back as a parent,
Oh my
like
gosh.
your mom should have filled your dad in from the beginning, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There was always, from the divorce, stemmed this kind of hiding things or keeping things secret because there would, at some point in my like early teens, be custody battle situations, right?
Hmm.
Which I only saw my mom's perspective growing up. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking he's the bad guy,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And he's trying to pull us out of a situation that wasn't good, but I wasn't seeing it because I'm
Yeah.
getting inside. So that became this habit of, we're only going to tell your dad certain things because I don't want him to take you guys from me.
Wow.
Right. So, and then I'm thinking he's the bad guy. So we don't tell him certain things. Yeah, it was terrible. It's terrible. And so,
So you're on Fremont.
so I'm on Fremont Street. And at this point, well, cut to, okay. So I had, which I didn't know until years later, I had OD'd and had a seizure in my townhouse
Wow.
smoking crack. I wouldn't know until years later that that's what that was, that it was a seizure, that it was like an OD. Um, it was bad. That whole thing was bad. So yeah, go ahead. Were you gonna ask me something?
Yeah, I was like,
Go
okay,
ahead.
about this like the OD thing that you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Um, so this is within the 2 week
Yeah.
binge.
Yes.
So what do you remember from that though? Do you just remember
So
blacking out?
yeah, so I remember being on the couch, all the lights are off, we're smoking crack, we're like looking out the window, there's somebody there situation, like so
Really?
bizarre. And I remember consciously thinking, I'm just gonna smoke. And if it takes me, it takes me. Like if this is it, I'm fine with it.
Wow.
Like, because I felt so gross and so depraved. And it's like my mom and my grandma are like pleading with me to come on, like
Hmm.
they're at my house every night trying to help me get away from this guy and this whole thing. And I remember thinking, you are so gross now. Like, wow, look what you did. Who cares? I'm cool if this is the way I go, I'll be fine. Like I'm okay with it. I literally thought that if this is the way I go, I'll be okay with it. And at some point, I remember waking up on the floor. I didn't know where I was, the year, my name. I didn't know what anything was.
Wow.
I'm coming to. And he's like trying to like do this, do that, and
He's like
here
talking to you and
he's
you're like,
trying to get me to come to. And there was this really bizarre moment where I'm gonna get a little emotional because I don't think I've ever spoken about this. He had this look in his eye where it was like God was telling me, that is the devil.
wow.
It was the most intense evil I've ever seen in anyone's eyes.
Yeah, I just got like goosebumps.
It was really, I've never seen anything like it. It was pure evil in his eyes.
Hmm.
But at the same time, he's telling me, don't do this. This is all the crap I've done in my life. Don't do this. How bizarre, right? And I'm coming to this guy with this evil eyes. It just felt like pure evil was sitting next to me, he's pleading with me not to do this. You can't be doing
Wow.
this. Like, you
Wow.
don't make the same mistakes I
Yeah.
made. I did this, and he was listing some pretty, like, really bad things.
Yeah.
This guy's like in and out of prison, like, bad guy.